Hey folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. I hope everyone's well. Now, by the time this video goes out, hopefully people will have had a chance to look at our Porky's Angels collaborations held on two channels. Part one was on my good friend Andy's channel, Andy's Cavern, and part two was here. Part one, we were talking about the aftermath, if you like, of the Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn fight. And we spent some time talking about, who Chris Eubank Jr. would fight, where he would go. And then we spent more time talking about Conor Benn. Because Conor Benn has said that if he doesn't get a rematch, and I don't know about you, but I don't think I want to watch a rematch. I think there's too much danger of the losing weight on the one hand from Eubank and the gaining weight, fighting somebody bigger than you. I don't think the rematch is something I want to see. It might be a good moneymaker, but I don't personally want to see it, and I'm not sure if it's going to happen, to be honest. But Conor Benn has said if there's no rematch, that he would like to go down to welterweight, back to welterweight, and win he said WBC title, but I'm sure that, he wouldn't sniff his nose at another belt, right? So a couple of things come to mind. And we were talking about this amongst me and the other guys who are periodic guests on Porky's Corner. Does he deserve a title shot? Well, if his last name wasn't Ben, if his name was Smith, Jones, Brown, Davis, then probably he wouldn't be getting a look in. Because he's never won any kind of belt at all, right? Never been a regional champion, never British champion, never Commonwealth champion, European champion, anything like that. But his name is Conor Benn. Famous last name. And I think that his stock, if you like, has gone up after fighting Chris Eubank Jr. He put in a very good performance. I don't forgive him for the clomiphene, but, speak fairly. He was gritty, determined, brave, if you like, and he put in a good performance against Chris Eubank Jr. So that plus last name probably means he can, make a charge at welterweight, provided he can lose the weight safely. Some people can, some people can't. When there was talk of Usyk going back to cruiser, people were like, no way, you can't lose that 30-pound of muscle. Roy Jones Jr. didn't successfully go back down in weight. Canelo did. So it can be done, but quite often it's very hard to do. But let's assume that Conor Benn, can safely lose the weight, go back down to 147. Can he retain power? But let's assume that he can. Let's assume he's a viable contender at 147. So the WBC, I've just got my tablet up here with the ratings. Mario Barrios is the champion. Would Conor Benn, who is rated number 3, get a chance at Mario Barrios? Would Devin Haney, who's rated number 1, have something to say about that? I don't see Conor Benn beating Devin Haney. I don't see him beating Mario Barrios, and then if he did, would he try and maybe take a run at Boots Ennis? Like if he's got one belt, would he feel as though, it's a good time to unify? Well, I think it's a very stiff road to hoe beating the likes of Mario Barrios or Devin Haney if there was to be a final eliminator. But then to go in against Boots Ennis, that would be tough. Could he fight someone like Rolly Romero? Now that doesn't get him a belt, right? I said on the WhatsApp chat, well, not the WhatsApp, the Zoom chat, that the person I'd like to see him fight, there's no belt though, is Ryan Garcia. I think that's a good fight, and I wouldn't have a dog in that fight. They both had drug problems. Who else could he fight? Brian Norman. Brian Norman might be the best to get the WBO belt. Might be the best thing to do. He fights Brian Norman. Can he beat Brian Norman? Brian Norman's 27-0, 21 KOs. Brian Norman is no slouch. I would rate his chances better against Brian Norman than I would against Boots Ennis. The 147 welterweight, there are some good names there. Now, his last two fights, of course, have been at 154. Oh, 154 would be easier to go back to. You wouldn't be worrying so much about losing so much weight. But that's a division where, yikes. 154, you've got, WBO, you've got Sebastian Fundora. You've also got the likes of Virgil Ortiz, Madrimov, Tim Tszyu, and of course the big dog, Crawford, who may be retiring, right? So, I don't know. It's kind of tough to see him getting a championship belt at 154. There's a lot of good names there. Boachuk. There's a lot of good names there. Now, if he was to go to welter, which is what he said he will do, it's an idea that, doesn't get him a belt, but could he fight Josh Taylor, an all-British thing? Is that worthwhile for him to be looking at? I don't know. Let me know what you think. And then there's always people like, he could have always, depending on which weight he goes to, look at Paddy Donovan or Lewis Crocker, right? I mean, it's possible. Depends on where he wants to go. I think that it's not as easy as he might think, though, to go and pick up a world championship at welterweight, and I think a world championship at junior middle is, that strikes me as being, a big ask, as they say. But as always, let me know what you think, and who also would you like to see him fight? Would you like Conor Benn to, say, go in with a Lewis Crocker or a Paddy Donovan as a all-British thing? That seems not to be a big moneymaker, and it doesn't seem to be what he wants to do. For me, I'd like to see him fight Ryan Garcia. I know there's no belt, it's a fight that I personally would like to see. But, hey, nobody cares what I think. Anyhow, I am interested in what you all think. So please leave your comments in the comments section below. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Cheers.